Gonna have to get you like a real guitar for the opening line here.
Got a bass guitar back here, right behind you.
In the world of trading, where legends are born, chalks, cards, a fire, feel the passion's born. Botany brings the heat with every single word. Together they're a whirlwind, haven't you heard? Every other Wednesday we light up the scene, flipping through the pages of the sports card dream. Get the latest news, it's the talk of the town. Join us on this journey, we'll never let you down. Cardboard rockstar.
Always got to wait for the high note. Can't end it before the high note.
Yeah, reminds me of the singer from Judas Priest hitting that real long high note.
All right. Well, welcome in. Thanks for joining us again on a bi-weekly show here that we've got. Today we're going to talk a little bit about PSA, as how can we not? With all the news going on right now with PSA, we'd be remiss if we did not. It seems to be a content creator's dream right now, as far as you could dang near post something every day if we had the time to do that. And then we're going to talk about some plays at the end. Hopefully some ways to make some money for you. Hey, Joel, welcome in. So let's get, before I go off on my rant, what is your take on PSA acquiring Beckett? What are your thoughts?
It's a bit scary in that they're just going to buy anybody that's competing with them. I don't think they can afford to buy CGC mainly because of their long history with the comic books and stuff. But I don't know. I mean, I'm sticking with PSA. I've graded like 4 or 5 cars at SGC, and everything else I've done has been PSA. I don't know. I've been wanting to take a shot at getting those black labels through Beckett, and I'm wondering if that's still even worth it now. I'm not sure,
Yeah. Welcome in, Brad. So the whole PSA thing at first, when I first heard it, matter of fact, Joel was the one that messaged me and said, "Hey, did you hear PSA bought Beckett?" And I said to him, "April Fools, like question mark, like that didn't really, they just bought SGC. What would they be doing with Beckett?" So it took me a little bit of time to get my head around the idea that PSA would even want Beckett. But then it occurred to me that they are playing a game of keep away. That's essentially what they're doing here. PSA is aligning themselves to try and make sure that they're needed by Fanatics. Fanatics, of course, has the checkbook big enough they could buy CGC and PSA if they wanted to, but PSA is just trying to make it as hard as they possibly can for Fanatics to get a grading company. Because I think if Fanatics were to get a grading company with their name and their dollar, their pocketbooks and their reputation and worldwide, I do think that they would have the ability to rival PSA or become the new number one, if you would, for grading. So PSA is going to do everything they possibly can to make it as hard as they can for them to do it. And Beckett and SGC were just too low of hanging fruit for them to let them hang out there and tantalize Fanatics with in a relatively inexpensive option. So I think this is a game of keep away. I don't think this is really anything other than that. In the Discord, Eric made a good point that he thought this could be because it's another facility now that they've got that's already equipped for grading cards, as well as graders that are experienced, because they're so far behind the 8 ball. It is interesting that, PSA bought a suite right down the hall from SGC and then gobbled up SGC. PSA's new Plano, Texas office, guess where that happens to be?
I heard it's 12 miles away.
Yeah, just down the road
Yeah.
from Beckett. So I think that was when they bought that Plano, Texas office. I think this was already in the works. I think this was probably already a done deal. It was just crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Just looking at the way that it went down with SGC, I think this has probably been a done deal for about a year, which is why you haven't seen Beckett really come out with any specials or do anything, because they were just trying to lay low until they could get bought up by PSA. Now the question becomes, are they going to destroy Beckett like they destroyed SGC? I think they're going to. I think that this is really, when you listen to Ryan Hoge say, everything that he's saying is the exact same thing that they said when they acquired SGC 2 years ago. So I really think that they'll keep Beckett around like they did SGC, but Beckett was a distant third or fourth in the grading landscape. I think they're going to go down to SGC type numbers. You're going to see, 25 or 30,000 cards a month. It'll be a boutique type thing like SGC was, for those diehard people that still want their, their 4 subgrades. It'll be around, but I think it's going to destroy, like it did for SGC. I think it's going to destroy the modern day values of that brand. I think the vintage, the older cards, I don't think that really will affect the value of those. It hasn't really affected SGC cards at all, but the modern stuff, it's destroyed SGC prices to the point where I don't know as though why anybody would grade any modern cards with SGC anymore. I think PSA is going to be pretty much the same thing with Beckett. You might still see a bunch of people trying to get their tops now black labels, but I just don't know as though that's going to be very relevant. Now the question becomes CGC. CGC was a clear number 2 before the buyouts of SGC and Beckett. Really, I'm curious to see what CGC does now. The ball's in their court. They don't have to do anything because they were the clear number 2 beforehand, and they're the even clearer number 2 now. So if they're content with their profit margins the way that they are, they've got a very nice business. They don't have to do anything. But if they wanted to take a run at PSA and increase their profit margins, now would be the time for them to do something like that. There's so many PSA haters out there in the world that they're going to refuse to go to SGC, Beckett, or PSA now, which really only leaves CGC or putting them in, one-touch mags and selling them ungraded. That's really your only options, because Tag and Arena Club and some of those, that they actually hurt your value. That the 10s often sell for less than the raw cards do. So there's no, unless you're doing it for a PC, there's really no reason to do that. So it'll be interesting to see if CGC wants the business or if CGC is content where they're at. I don't know what's going to happen. If I was CGC, and I don't know if CGC listens to our show, but they might. So if I was CGC, I would go after Peter from SGC. I don't know if he's got a non-compete clause or anything with the buyout from leaving SGC, but he put the playbook out there as to how to become relevant for a grading company. If CGC would go and hire Peter as the president or a face of CGC, and they would go with those quick turnaround times in the playbook that he laid out, the legitimacy that Peter would bring to CGC, I think you would instantly see a mass carryover to CGC from the hobby, and I also think you would start to see more people viewing their slabs as relevant. See, the problem CGC has right now is they don't have any big dollar items in their holders because everybody knows it's just for PC only, because they have no retail value. So they need somebody to add some legitimacy to it to get us, the hobby, wanting to buy their slabs, which will drive up their prices, and then they can make a move. So it's been an interesting 30 days in the hobby with the grading scandal at PSA, which really wasn't a scandal. I don't think it was more of a. I think it was truly a mistake. I don't think PSA billion-dollar company really cares about turning $30 Pokemon cards into $300 Pokemon cards. It seems awful petty. So I'm not a believer in the conspiracy that was a on purpose thing, or that that happened to more than one person. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun here for the last 30 days. The ride on the end of 2025, it's going to make it a memorable year.
Yeah, for sure.
So, you wanna share with the audience your couple of recent submissions that you got back from PSA?
Yeah, well, they're not here yet, but I have an order that I submitted in early September that's supposed to be delivered today. About half the cards I sent to the vault, another half I sent back here. But I've been noticing lately, I don't know if you're having the same issue, where sometimes it takes a really long time for your card to get in the vault, like technically. I had two orders. One got in a week, and one of them that's a month old is still not in. So I don't know. But I had a whole bunch of Lamine Yamal Topps Chrome rookies. I've probably got I think I've got 5 base ones, PSA 10, and I've got 9 of the Jade version, PSA 10. Yeah, so I'm loaded up on him, and I sent in like the Stadium Club rookie, and I got a 10 on that, and then this wild silver one I've never seen before, I got a 10 on that. So I'm loaded up with Lamine Yamal for upcoming World Cup season. I mean, I'm even going to start selling some of them right now.
Nice.
But I've been my local GameStop. When I first moved back here in May, they were taking 3 to 4 weeks before they'd even mail the stuff off, and I was getting irritated with them. And I was going to the other one, which was like a half an hour drive. But now the manager reached out to me and assured me that they're sending them every Monday. So I've been getting orders back from them like every 6 to 7 weeks. It's been really quick. I find that I do better just sending the cheaper stuff in. Like I was telling you before the show, they still haven't given me a 10 on any Bowman Chrome Auto that I've sent in. And some of them have looked great. And then I'm getting 10s, lots of 10s on the Bowman Chrome Autos that I send in myself. My theory is that the orders from GameStop go to New Jersey, and the orders that you and I send in ourselves go to California. And most of the time they stay in California, but sometimes they get sent off to other places. I still think that New Jersey grades tougher than California. I made jokes about it last year, don't Jersey up my PSA order, but I've got a few that I'm going to take in on Saturday. I've been kind of slowing down on buying, but by the end of the year, I'm going to be stopping for a few months. I got the Murakami, the Japanese guy that supposedly has to. He's going to sign with the team within a week. He's got some kind of weird deadline. I wish I already had this graded, but I got it for $14 on an auction that somebody had end at like 3:00 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. So I was like, yay, and it's the chrome one too. I've been really enjoying these Bob Ross cards, and I hear they have a high gem rate, at least according to gemrate.com. And this, I sent in the 2 of the short prints of Ohtani from last year in the Dodgers uniform, but then I picked up one that's a couple years old from his old team. I've been trying to load up with AZ Fudd. She's either going to be first or second pick, I believe. Now, if I was the Dallas Wings, I would sign that Spanish girl, Awa Pham. But I think with her being Paige's right-hand girl, right-hand lady, or whatever, that there's going to be pressure. I don't know if the Dallas Wings would be like, well, they're in a relationship together, so let's draft her. I don't know if they're thinking that way, you know. Paul Skeens on the Bob Ross. Here's a fancy Erling Haaland numbered that I got for cheap on eBay. This one, you know, this is the second one of these that I bought, the JJ Weatherholt Bowman first. The first one had scratches all over it, and thankfully it said returns accepted when I looked at it on eBay, and I just mailed it back to the dude. And I got this one yesterday, but I'm going to send this in with a more expensive grading level directly myself. Olivia Miles, she was on Notre Dame with Hannah Hidalgo last year, and evidently they don't really get along, and she left. She went to TCU, but she's still supposed to be a top 5 pick this year. All she has is, you know, she doesn't have anything licensed at all, but this was like $18 on eBay.
Yeah, she's got Leaf and SI for kid cards.
Okay, that reminds me. I wanted to ask you a question about the SI for kids. Malaysia Phil Wiley, she's incredible. It's wild that she never starts. They just bring her in off the bench, and she, you know, but she's as good as anybody, really, in the college.
Yeah, she'll be a 2027 draft.
Right.
She won't be in this year, so she's got another year to shine yet.
And there's some major controversy about something she said in an interview a few days ago about the way Kim Mulkey coaches. And then they brought it up to Dawn Staley at her press conference, and you could tell that them two do not like each other at all. I already got it marked on my calendar that's on Valentine's Day when LSU and South Carolina play against each other. That thing's going to be game of the month. I'm putting my flag plant right now. That's going to be one hell of a basketball game. And then got another Aussie Fudd. This is the upper deck one. But so those are all probably going to get dropped off at GameStop as soon as this order. I've got my Fernando Mendoza top now cards ready to pick up today or tomorrow. Should be.
Okay. Nice. All right. Well, I've got some talk about some college players, both women and men. My plays today are really just a hodgepodge of, like, you know, leftover stew is basically what it, you know, just a bunch of, I didn't focus on any one area. I was just kind of looking at some plays. Some of them have real low gem rates, so they're not great plays, but if you can get the 10, there's some pretty big multipliers. Well, let's just get into some of the plays here, and hopefully the guys like it and they can make some money on it. But this is a definitely a holiday hodgepodge of events here.
My grandma always used to say that the leftover stew is better than the original.
All right, so we're going to start with a Caitlin Clark. Now, this is not a rookie card, which is why I thought it was interesting. You know, we always talk about Bowman first. We talk about autos. We talk about rookie cards. This is a play that you can make that is a non-auto, non-first year, non-rookie, and there's profit margins to be had. So I thought it was an interesting play that I would share. It's a Sapphire second year base. Caitlin Clark, most recent sale was $15. There have only been 2 sales in the last 30 days. So even though it's a second-year card, it's not a real high volume card in terms of how often it sells, which was kind of interesting because you'd think that this would be a card you could find all over the place. I'm guessing because it's a second-year card, people don't put a lot of value in it. So therefore, they don't try and resell it. But anyways, a PSA 9 sells for $38. So you're going to be out a couple bucks on a PSA 9. But a PSA 10 sells for $100, and it's a 51% gem rate. So I thought with the fact that you can you can take a $15 investment and end up with $100. I thought it was worth talking about. And then it's a non-rookie card, which I don't think we talk enough about. You can make money on second-year cards and players and things of that nature. So I just wanted to bring that to light as well.
The word on the street is, that USA camp, I think, just ended for the, prepping a team for next year's World Cup basketball. And she was just impressing the hell out of everybody, lighting it up. Yeah. So she's back.
Yeah. And she never really had a huge dip in her prices. I mean, it was a little bit of a dip, but it was never a huge dip. So there's quite a few Caitlin Clark plays that we're going to talk about today, just simply because of how relevant she is. And you can still make money on her, which I like the fact that the WNBA doesn't kick off till May. So you've still got, a few weeks to be able to buy these cards, get them sent in and get them back in plenty of time for the start of the season. But I think when preseason starts, those couple of preseason games, when she drops a big number and reminds everybody, kind of like Wemby did when he came back, everybody's going to be like, oh yeah, she's the one. She's the best one. I better rush out and buy her cards. And you're going to see a nice spike in spring of Caitlin Clark cards. So now this is the Bowman first non-auto. This is the refractor, the easiest one to come up with. Hey, Logan, welcome in. So this is the refractor first non-auto. 6 sales in the last 30 days. $22 was the last sale. 30-day average is $29, so it's down a little bit. You can see a little bit of a Christmas, dip or a holiday dip, whatever you want to call it. So it's a good time right now to get at this card. The PSA 9 is $49. So again, a PSA 9 is going to cost you $10 or $15 in profits. But a PSA 10 is $298. So a card that you can buy for $20, have 50 with grading and shipping in it, and get a $300 return on it. Those are the types of cards I really like. It does have a 32% gem rate too. So if you find 3 nice clean copies, there's a good chance you're going to get 110. I've got 5 of these that I've bought recently that I'm waiting to get here. So I'm going to do a 5-card play. My hopes are I can get 1 or 2 10s. If I can get 110, it pays for the whole lot, and then all the 9s will be free of charge. So this is another play that I think really makes sense. All right, let's go to the next one. Next up, you talked about your Tops Now Mendoza cards. Here is a play that you can make. This is his Bowman first auto. Now, this card's only been out on the market for, when did Bowman come out?
6 to 8
November,
weeks.
Right?
Yeah.
November, roughly?
Yeah.
Well, you look, first card was sold on November 1st. So, yeah. So this card's only been out for about 7, 8 weeks. So I don't know if it's found its floor yet. It came out right out of the gate at that 225 mark. It climbed as high as 270. But right now it's settled in at 214. In the last 30 days, you can see there have been 46 sales, so the card sells quite often. It's a pretty easy card to come by. And he should be relevant all the way up until draft. I worry that Indiana's going to get smoked in a bowl game, which worries me a little bit because I just don't trust Indiana. I don't think they're that great. And when they start playing the top teams in this playoff, I think that could spell trouble for them. I could be wrong.
What do you think about maybe waiting until they get beat to buy the card?
Well, that was my other thought, is that, if you're in the same camp as me, you basically got about 2 weeks yet before they're going to be eliminated from the college bowl playoffs. And if that happens and he looks bad, his prices could dip. But if he looks bad, could it hurt his stock?
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that as well. There are no PSA 9s that have sold yet at all. And the reason that is, you sitting down for this one?
Yeah.
There have only been one of the cards graded at PSA. One.
There's probably
one base
Fine.
first. Now, it's not that shocking because they've only been out for 7 weeks, right? So, and with PSA's turnaround times, that makes sense. But I worry that the PSA 10s could take a hit once all that stock that's there starts hitting the market. And, well, for the people that sent them in bulk, if they got it in the first week or two in November, they're probably not going to see those cards back till end of February, early March. But then is there going to be enough hype leading into the NFL draft combines that it may carry? I don't know. But a PSA, the one and only PSA 10 that's been graded so far, first to the market sold for $405. When the raw sells for $200 and the first to market was only $400, that worries me a little bit too, because I would have guessed that to be $600 or $700 with as much hype as he has. It's a one of one. There's no other ones graded. It's the first to the market, and it's only a 2X raw. That worries me a little bit about his market. But I wanted to talk about him because right now he is kind of the consensus number one draft pick leading into the draft.
I wonder when that sold, because last year
when it sold on November 22nd.
The PSA 10.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So it sold literally 3 weeks from the day that it was released. So somebody spent the money to get a very fast turnaround. Now, if they ripped it, out of a box, they had the cost of their box, but they probably spent $125 to get that thing graded, and it only from a $200 raw to $400 10. I got to think they were pretty disappointed with that sale, but I could be wrong.
Sold it on Heisman Trophy night, they probably would have done way, way better. I made out like a bandit last year selling my Travis Hunter stuff on Heisman ceremony night. I got the all-time highs on some of those cards. Nobody sold them for more than me. It was great.
Next up, we've got Jeremiah Love. I know when we talked about him the last time, Eric had said he might be a little bit too expensive for his likings. I did the math on it, and I think this card makes sense based on what the Genties were selling for. I think he's not a power back. He's more of an elusive guy, but I've heard people compare him to the next Reggie Bush. I hope he has a better career than that, but anyways, $155 is where his base auto is right now, which is very expensive for a non-quarterback. 9 sales in the last 30 days. The 30-day average is 127. So it's up a little bit from the 30-day average. But the PSA 9 is selling for $200. So even at 155, you're breaking even on a PSA 9, which is why I'm offering this play up, because there's enough. That's a pretty low floor. If you can pay 150, 155, 160 and get 200 for a PSA 9, it might be worth your time and trouble. The PSA 10 sold for $4.25, and that just sold on December 14th. So Mendoza's there's only one in existence, sold for $405, and a Jeremiah Love, which there are 40 in existence, just sold a couple days ago for $4.25. But you can double your money on a PSA 10. It does have a 59% gem rate. So very good gem rate. Thought it was worth talking about here for those that want to make a college play and make some money. He's the one running back that you're going to want to have.
I was listening to the draft talk, and these guys think the Chiefs are going to get him, and I think they need O-line worse than anything, but boy, that'd be amazing if he went to the Chiefs.
All right, now gonna do a little bit of women's basketball here. Cameron Brink, don't know what you think of her, but she is polarizing. She's very good looking. She's got a very good following. Her looks, of course, and her relationship with some of the guys in the NBA, of course, is where all of the social media and hype are driven from. But coming off the injury last year, she had an okay year. I look for her to have a phenomenal second year here, or third year, but her second year playing. I expect her to make a huge leaps and bounds. I think she's going to make a lot of noise this year, and she's a player that I'm investing some money in. However, the gem rates aren't great. This is her Silver Prism. It's only an $8.50 card raw. I found that to be incredibly cheap for a Silver Prism of a rookie card. The 30-day average is only $5. There's 12 sales in the last 30 days. So it's a pretty affordable Silver Prism in terms of Silver Prisms. You don't see too many that are that cheap. But a PSA 9 sells for $30, so you're going to be out $5 or $10 on a 9. But a PSA 10's $103, and I anticipate that's going to climb between now and May. 15% gem rate, so not a great gem rate, but not a lot to invest in a Silver Prism. $5 to $8 to get a raw one. I like that play because I really like Cameron Brink this year. She could be most improved player now that she's got another year being healthy. She was pretty dominant in college.
I got a 10 on Hulu last summer.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. This is another Caitlin Clark play. This is her Silver Prism now. Her Silver Prism is down a significant amount overall, but I just wanted to put this play out there. This is card number 22. So this is her actual main card. It's the silver. Most recent sale was $203. 27 sales of this card in the last 30 days at a $200 for 27 sales in the last 30 days. It's kind of mind-boggling to think how much money she still creates and generates. $231 is the 30-day average, so 203 is actually low, so you're going to be in that 2 to 2.25 range to find one of these cards. PSA 9, $357. So you're making $100 on a PSA 9. A PSA 10, $2,302. you might ask yourself, why wouldn't you just go buy a whole crap load of these? Then if you can buy them for 200 and they're worth $2,000 in a PSA 10, it's only got a 7% gem rate. This is very similar gem rate to the Trevor Lawrence card back in 2001 for football. A single digit gem rate is not great. However, if you can find one that looks good, if you can pick up $100 on a PSA 9, it's worth your while. On a PSA 8, for example, the only thing you're out is your grading fees. So there's very little risk involved in picking one of these up if you can find a nice clean copy. I have one of them at PSA right now.
Nice.
We'll see how I do. Next up is a much more affordable Caitlin Clark. This is the ice version, but this is the variation. So this is the one I actually like. This I like the variation better than her standard card.
Me too.
Some people call it the pooping card because she's just in a weird stance for shooting. Yeah. I like this spinning the ball on her finger. I think that's a really cool looking card. So the one that I have for my PC is actually the variation because I like it. I think it's a better looking card. But anyways, $58 most recent sale in Raw, 67 sales in the last 30 days, almost 2 per day. Lots, very easy card to come by. 30-day average is $63, so it's essentially flat in the last 30 days, a couple bucks up or down one way or another. But $87 is the PSA 9, so you're going to break even on a 9. PSA 10 is $300, only a 10% gem rate again. So the gem rates on these cards, these Prism from last year, as you know, are just brutal gem rates. But you can break even on a 9, so again, very little risk with a high reward. So you might as well give that card a shot. Then we've got, go ahead. We've got, we're back to some football here. As I mentioned, it's a hodgepodge of bounce around. Jordan Tyson, predicted to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. His play doesn't make a lot of sense right now because his PSA 10 doesn't have a great gem rate. There's not a lot that have been graded. And the PSA 9 sells for not much more than so you're basically out your whole entire grading fee. But this is a card you might, if you want, this is a card you can buy raw and hold. Put it in a one-touch magazine and sell it in the one-touch come draft time, and you don't even have to grade this. For all you PSA haters out there, don't grade the card. This is, autographs kind of have their own market, really. So it's a card you don't have to grade. But it's $27.50 for a top 10 pick in the NFL. For the talent that he has, for less than $30 to get a Bowman first auto. I really like that because when you look at this here, you go out 90 days, look at where this card was selling at the beginning of the football season.
He got hurt.
Look at this. It was an $80 card in raw condition, not that long ago when the card first came out in early November. It was $80. And now the last 6 or 8 transactions have all been, $30, $40 or less.
I think he missed a couple games, and that might be why. I think he got.
Yeah, he's a bit of an injury risk, but super talented guys. To be able to get a first auto in that $25 to $30 range for a kid of his talent, I would just go out and buy the card, whether you want to grade it or not. That's a card that you can just go buy, and then there's no risk because you're not grading it.
Mm-hmm.
You can grade it if you want. It's just a card. I'm just trying to give you a hodgepodge of things. All right, so Next up, we're going to talk about Audie Crooks. This girl is the most dominant force in college basketball right now, and it's not even close. But because of her size, she gets picked on a lot. Because of her size, she doesn't get a lot of media attention. And it's a shame because this girl is uber talented.
Yeah.
I know you've bought some, right?
Yeah, I've got the Red Wave Auto. I've sent it off to PSA.
So I just the reason I'm pulling these up and I left it like this where you can see a bunch of different options. Her Stealth Refractor, the Stealth Refractor just sold on the 12th of December for $81 compared to her base auto, which her base refractor auto, which sold for $80. So you've got, you can get a refractor for 80. You can get the refractor, the Stealth Refractor for 81. You can get the green shimmer refractor for 80. You can get the orange reptilian numbered to 25 for $1.25. The green shimmer, 300. But when you look at the green shimmer for 300, and then you look at well, I guess that's a PSA 10, but you look at $80 for a raw one, that's a pretty good rate of return. So I just, here's the Black Wave refractor for 110. They're just some good buys on Audie right now. So I wanted to bring that to people's attention.
She's leading the nation in scoring right now. Nobody can really stop her. She's also, I saw a video of her on YouTube where she's playing piano and she's singing with Flau'jae Johnson. And she's an excellent piano player. And her and Flau'jae were singing. It's really, really good. I mean, she's talented in other ways too.
It's smart of her to hook up with Flau'jae because Flau'jae's got a huge social media following, millions of kind of similar to Angel Reese, really.
I have a question about her. Before we end today, I want to ask you about
Flau'jae.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I've got, I think I've got 7 more plays here for us. So next up, we are going to go to Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams is a player that I think you can make some really good money on right now. His first base auto, $60, 8 sales in the last 30 days. 30-day average is $62. A PSA 9's $125. So, you're going to pick up $25, $30 on a PSA 9. And a PSA 10 is $215. And it's got a 60% gem rate. So that is one player that is a pretty safe buy and grade if you're looking for money to be made on some college football players. I don't know that there's too many plays you can make that you're going to have a better rate of return than Ryan Williams.
I have that refractor auto as a 10, and I've had it for a long time. And I was looking at putting it on the market yesterday, and I'm like, I don't know, because he's still going to play another year or two. I was halfway thinking about it, holding on to it. But maybe if Alabama beats Georgia on Friday night, then I'll list it.
Yeah, I think that you'll see some if they win and beat Georgia. You could see a nice spike if he has a big game. But I also think you're going to see he's going to gain a lot of notoriety and attention going into next season. So I think next August is going to be a great selling marker for him.
Yeah, I might just hang on to it.
Next up is Dante Moore. Base first auto, $48, 9 sales in the last 30 days. The 30-day average is $48, so it's pretty steady, pretty even. About 1 every 3 days is selling. his stuff, I've noticed you got to buy it in an auction because the people that are selling them on Buy It Nows are all listing them for $80 or $100. So the only way you're going to get this card is for this price is in an auction. So you got to make sure that you find a nice copy and then you follow through in the auction. But PSA 9 sells for what Raw does. So right now you're out your grading fee if you get a 9, and a 10 only sells for $85. So you barely, if you pay $50 and you grade it and you get it back with shipping, you basically can't make any money on a PSA 10 either. So why am I talking about this? Because Dante Moore is going to be a top 5 pick in the draft, and he's going to get a lot more hype, and I think his cards are going to go up a lot. So I wanted to show you what the numbers look like for Raw to grade. Just go buy this card in a PSA 10 for $85 or $100. There's no reason that this card shouldn't do 150 to 200 at the time of draft. You know, if he's a top 10 pick, unless he slides in the draft, he's gonna that card's gonna be close to a $200 card come draft time. So take all the risk out of it. Just go buy the card in a PSA 10, try and get it for $100 or less, and you're going to profit on that card.
Yeah. It looks like him and Mendoza might be the only 2 quarterbacks going in the first round.
I think by the time the NFL draft rolls around, you're going to see 4 or 5.
Okay. I hope you're right.
Just my opinion, but they're probably the only 2 that are going to get the hype to be sure in the first round. But I think you'll see 4, maybe 5 quarterbacks selected in the first round again. Everybody needs their quarterback, so they're afraid. It's the FOMO, fear of missing out on a prospect. This card here I've liked. I've talked about it before. It has eluded me. I've not been able to buy this card myself. It seems to be like a really hard card to find. Only one sale in the last 30 days. There's only 20 sales in the last 6 months, which is probably why it works so well in this graded raw to grade formula. But $36 is the most recent sale. PSA 9 is $75, so you break even on a 9. But it's a $180 card, $170 card in PSA 10. So nice 3 or 4x of your money, and it's got a 62% gem rate. That's why I like this card. Is for as hard as it is to grade Prism cards from last year, to have a Prism card with a 60% gem rate, I just really like the card. And when you can triple your money on a PSA 10, it's just worth the time to go out and try and find that card.
I've made some money off just the base one of those. Yours is the green one, right? Just the regular.
That's the green. Yep. You want the green fractal.
Yeah.
Carnell Tate, first auto. We talked about him on the show with Eric. He appears to be a top 10 pick as well. This is his base auto. It's $100. 3 sales in the last 30 days. They're all at $100. That hasn't varied at all. So it's a card that pretty steady, right around that $100 mark. They're in the college playoffs, so we'll see how they do. He could get a nice little bump up from that. But I'm going to recommend that you just pay. The PSA 10 was $100, as you saw, and it's been holding there. I would just buy the 10. The raw sells for right around $50. With your grading fees, you're going to have 80 in it with shipping. Just buy another one. Just buy the 10 at $100 and wait for the draft. No sense in getting cute and trying to make an extra $10 when you could lose money if you get the PSA 9. All right, Juju. We haven't talked about Juju in a while. She's out this whole entire year. Make no mistake about it, she is the best player in college basketball right now, and I don't think it's close. She is going to be another Paige / Caitlin. She's going to draw all kinds of media attention and hype. Her stuff will get hot again once she comes back. So right now, her stuff again never really dipped too hard because everybody knows her value. But the first auto is down as low as it's been in quite some time. It's $137 is the most recent raw sale. 4 sales in the last 30 days. They're all in that 135 to 140 range. A PSA 9, $190. So you break even on a PSA 9, but a PSA 10 is really what you're shooting for. And it's $406. So you can a little better than double your money. And that's if you sell now. If you hold, that's a play that you could maybe triple your money on by the time she comes back. And it does have a 47% gem rate. So very good gem rate on a very good player. Now is the time to do it. Probably now and even into the January, February range. But when it comes to tournament time, people are probably going to start talking about her because she's going to be starting to work out. She'll be doing workouts by then. And once she starts doing workouts, live workouts to get ready for next season, the hype is going to be back and it's going to be too late. So don't miss out on the window to buy some Juju.
Next season would probably be her final one at USC, wouldn't it?
Most likely, yes. She could essentially do 2 more, but because of the injury, but it's believed that she will probably do 1 more and probably come out. Here is back to Caitlin Clark, the variation, the silver variation we talked about earlier. I like the variation better than the regular card just from the look of it. This card is $128, so it's quite a bit cheaper, almost $50 cheaper than the standard card. 30 in the last 30 days, so one a day roughly. $145 is the 30-day average. $200 is the PSA 9, so you're making a small profit on a PSA 9, and $1,500 on a PSA 10, but only a 5% gem rate. So really what you're shooting for is you're shooting for at least a 9, because at a 9 you're going to make you make what do you make, about $50 on a PSA 9. So rinse and repeat until you can get one of those 5% and hit the home run with the PSA 10. All right. Now we've got 2 plays to go. Cameron Brink, here is her. This is her variation. It's the Orange Velocity. It's only a $10 card. 5 sales in the last 30 days. 30-day average is also $10. The PSA 9 is 40, so you break even. Maybe you make $5 on a PSA 9. And PSA 10 is $56. So you're only going to make about $20 on a PSA 10, but it does have a 67% gem rate, and you are making $5 on a PSA 9. And again, I put her on here simply because I believe that her cards are way undervalued right now. So here's another one. If you wanted to buy the PSA 10 already graded, you could. But if you want to take the chance and make the extra profit, on a 9, you're still making a small profit margin. So it's a very low risk play, which is why I put it in here. The last play I want to talk about is your AZ FUD. She doesn't really have anything other than the NIL cards. Her autos are super expensive already, ungraded. So I can't imagine what they would do graded. There aren't really any. here's a hollow auto numbered to 25, did $340. You've got just a standard NIL. This is nothing but her base card. I think that's the one you were talking about. It's $15. So you can get that card in $15, and if you can get, what did you get for it? $100.
I sold mine for $100, and I believe at the time it was the only one because it says it has a 20 on Gym Rate. It says it's a 20% with 110, and that was the one that I submitted at the national before.
Right. So she's a player that's going to gain some attention as it comes to as you get closer to the draft. She is going to have some Topps or Bowman Now cards, which I think is what you bought, right?
All mine are Panini. There is
they're all Panini.
There's a couple Upper Deck ones too. I heard that she was exclusive with Panini, but I'm not for sure.
Well, if she was exclusive, Upper Deck wouldn't, unless those Upper Deck are unlicensed. But anyways, wanted to talk about her. You had mentioned Flaugier. I like Flaugier Johnson because she's got a huge social media following. She is only got 2022 McDonald's All-American cards or 2025 SI for Kids cards. Those are the cards that you're chasing if you're going after her. I like the McDonald's auto. You can get a McDonald's auto of hers for about $65-70 and a decent one for raw. So I like that if you're going to go after Flaugier.
Is it weird to you that the only cards of her in LSU uniform are those SI for Kids?
It is weird. I think that it's a licensing thing.
She's all too concerned about being a rapper, and she doesn't want her cards out. I don't know.
Yeah, I find it a little weird that a lot of the top WNBA players this year don't have Bowman cards. Ozzy Fudd, only NIL cards. Awa, Pham, no cards of any kind at all. Not even international like sticker cards. She's got nothing. Zero, zilch, nada. Olivia Miles, only Leaf cards or SI for Kids cards. Lauren Betts, she has a 2022 Bowman First auto. And it's amazing that a year ago we thought she was going to be the unanimous number one pick. She was going to be the player everybody chased. You don't hear as much about her,
I've heard that she's been in a slump.
As he's getting a lot more attention. Flaugier, Audie Crooks is the one that's getting most of the attention, really. And I would say that Lauren Betts is and Audie would be the two. If you're in the draft, and you need a big, you're talking, do you want to go Lauren Betts or do you want to go Audie Crooks, right?
I think Audie's the following year. I don't think Audie is eligible this year.
I heard that there is a possibility that she could declare for this year. Okay. I don't know if it's because she was redshirted or what it was, but I read somewhere that she might be eligible for this year's draft.
Okay. On the mock, I look at the mock draft lists a lot, and I've never seen her name on the 2026 one, but I've seen it on the 27.
So when you Google it, Google says Iowa State's dominant center Audrey Crooks can declare for the upcoming 2026 draft.
Okay.
It says following her junior year in late 2025, due to a NCAA loophole, it would allow her to be able to declare for the draft at the end of this season if she wanted to. And it says everything is sources close to Audie says that she will be declaring for this year's draft.
Oh, wow. Good to know. Nice.
So Crooks is probably going to be in this year's draft, which then it becomes, if a player that dominant is in the draft, how do you not take her number one?
Yeah.
You know, she's probably going to be a top 5 pick,
Yeah.
but there's going to be teams that pass on her because of her size. You know, they're going to, you know,
they're worried about keeping her being able to keep up going up and down the court.
Yep.
Like a transition game.
But she's been doing it in college. She has no problems in college. She's so dominant in the half court game that, you know, I would take my chances with her. She's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But then you got Flaugier with 2022 McDonald's cards and 25 SI for kids cards. You got Tanaya Latson. She's only got 22 McDonald's All-American cards. And then you got Audie Crooks, who's got the 2024 Bowman First. But that's right now, that's projected to be your top 7 picks in the WNBA draft. There's your top 7 picks. 5 of the 7 don't have Bowman First cards. I find that to be just crazy. Flabbergasting.
Yeah.
I mean,
and the set will probably come out like a week before the draft or something stupid like that.
Yeah, Bowman. I mean, when does Bowman draft Chrome U?
I don't know. I haven't seen the date, but I remember it was kind of late last year where you wouldn't have time to get anything, you know, ripped and graded to flip during the draft. Would it be stupid to grade a couple of the Sports Illustrated Flaugier cards? I mean, they're cheap as hell. You can get them for like $3. You know?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't, because she's got the social media backing. She's gonna be one of the more popular players. I actually have 2 of her McDonald's autos sitting in the closet waiting for the draft. I've got 2 10s now that I've been playing with for about the last year. When I get 9s, I sell them right away. But when I get 10s, I've been holding them, waiting for the draft. Bowman 2026 Bowman University Chrome. Oh, I want basketball. Basketball release date is expected to be that's goofy. It says retail blaster boxes are scheduled for the end of February 2026, but hobby exclusive boxes are slated for April of 2026.
It's way too late.
Blasters are going to come out 2 months before the hobbies. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but
yeah. I remember that with Angel Reese a couple years ago, that set came out in like late February, and it was a bit tough to get that, you know, back for the draft. Yeah. I've got like 6 of those SI for kids cards. I might just throw 2 of them in my next PSA order just for the hell of it and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah. You
know, a couple of other football plays we didn't talk. There aren't really plays, but if you wanted to go after their cards, Makai Lemon, we talked about a little bit with Eric. He's extremely talented, going to be one of the top wide receivers picked. Ty Simpson could be another one of the, you know, quarterbacks that you could see selected in the first round. And then my pick we didn't talk about him with Eric, but a player I really like. He's coming on strong this year, and I think he was initially at the beginning of this year, according to Google, he was a mid-round draft choice. His name is Denzel Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Denzel Boston is going to work his way into late first round, early second round. He's a player that I'm kind of speculating on a little bit because his cards are really cheap.
Yeah.
But then you've got, you know,
right?
What's that?
He played for Washington, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, then you got, for other running backs besides Love, you've got Jadarian Price and Jonah Coleman. Those are 2 running backs that you could see taken probably round 2, round 3. You've got, for quarterbacks, you know, Garrett Nussmeier. I I have not seen anything yet that has changed my mind that from pro ready, arm strength, readability, I still think Garrett Nussmeier is the best quarterback, and I like him better than Mendoza. I like him better than Simpson. I like him better than Dante Moore. But nobody calls me to ask me for my opinion, so we'll see. Nussmeier is probably going to be, I would guess, a second, maybe even a third round pick at this point. But he's a player that I thought, from a talent wise, I think he's NFL ready. And if he goes to the right team, his cards could take off. John Mateer, Lenoris Sellers, those guys' cards are slipping and sliding quite a bit right now.
Both of them, I think, will be back next year. I know Sellers for sure. I think is Mateer.
My sleeper pick of the draft is a running back that nobody's talking about right now. But I think he could be a sneaky pick and really kind of light things up a little bit in some training camps and all of a sudden could get a little bit of hype going depending upon where he goes. And that's Jaden Craig. I like Jaden Craig as my after Love. I like Craig as the second best running back in the draft. But he's ranked, I think he's ranked like 8th for the running backs. When I looked at NFL.com, I think they've got it wrong. I like him. So I'm doing a little bit of speculating on him as well.
I like that guy from Missouri. Is it Hardy? Is his last name Hardy? I think the Missouri guy. Yeah, I like him too.
So that is what we have for today's show. You got anything else, Bo, that you want to share with anybody?
No, I don't. I'm not right now. I just ready to get some grading orders back to move to eBay. I did start a TikTok. I've only posted 2 videos. And so far, nobody's watched them, and I have 0 followers. But it's under Bodini Cards if you want to check it out.
I was telling Bo before the show that I've had 2 orders pop here from PSA this week. One was a Joe Montana Phoenix Color Blast. I got a PSA 10 on that, and they've been selling for around $500. They offered me $429, and I accepted their offer because it was within $10 of what I could get on my own, and I could turn it to cash right away. It wasn't a card I wanted for my PC, so I went ahead and flipped that. And then the other one is I had 20 Bryce Harper rookie cards, a variety of, I think, 5 different types of rookie cards, but there were 20 in all. I got 11 PSA 10s. I got 7 PSA 9s, 1 PSA 7, and then the surprising one of the group, I got 1 PSA 5. And I can assure everybody here that I am not dumb enough to submit a PSA 5 to PSA. So I'm going to have to take a look at it. I'm guessing that probably got damaged in shipping. I do have 5 other orders at PSA right now that are either in assembly or QAs, getting ready for grades to pop. So I should be getting a lot of PSA cards, hopefully in the next 30 days to come back. Got to pay off some credit card debt. My wife and I were just looking, and I got my credit card statement in the mail today, and we kind of overdid things on Christmas. So I'm gonna have to do some heavy duty lifting and selling to pay that down. We went way overboard for Christmas this year.
Sounds like fun.
Yep. So, all right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Reach out to us. We are looking at doing a possible New Year's Eve show, which is 2 weeks from today. If we do that show, it will probably be 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. Not sure if it's going to work out or not, but stay tuned. We might be doing a special New Year's Eve show. So hope you guys can all join us for that. Until then, I think that is it. Let's hit the music.
Making dreams